Alright, this is an introductory video for the Trikke Electric Vehicle, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how it operates properly and how you're going to make it operate properly. This is intended to be just a basic introductory video, but give you some pointers on how to ride, though we really recommend and almost require and insist that you should get hands-on training by someone before you ride any kind of new vehicle, including ours, the Trikke Electric Vehicle. So how this vehicle operates, you've got a hub motor down here that will pull you forward. That's operated by a throttle right here. If you've ever used a motorcycle, you know you just roll it back and it moves forward. Same principle. You've got two brakes beneath your weight, one operating on each rear wheel, and you've got a battery here that provides power to the front hub motor. And you've got a few different positions for the key, but off is one click back, on is straight up vertical. And then what makes this a unique vehicle, of course it has 3 points, and so it's balancing by itself, just like anything with 3 points will. But it's not a rigid frame, it's a cambering or leaning frame. So as you come into a turn, you don't have to outrig and lean off the vehicle to remain in your turn and not flying out of your turn. You can bring the frame with you into the turn. And that allows for much smoother handling in all circumstances. First of all, always wear a helmet, an ASTM approved bicycle helmet that is fitting you well and is snug against the underside of your jaw so it won't fly off in the case of a fall, and it will protect the most important organ on your body. You can also wear elbow pads and knee pads. You know, if you are considering you want more protection, that's your choice. In order to drive it, you grab the brakes, so it's not going to go anywhere. You're standing between what we call the trailing arms. Grab the brakes, put one foot up, put the other foot up, and you're in riding position. Then you press the button here for 4 seconds, which will turn it on. And then, of course, you're going to have to release the brakes before you put on the accelerator and start moving. You know, you can go very slowly if you just ease on the throttle. You don't want to punch it because you'll just burn rubber like you will on any other vehicle. So it's quite easy to manage. And we have a couple of exercises here to get you comfortable, since this is the first time you've done it. We advise you get a few cones, or something that'll represent cones, and space them out about 9 feet apart to start with, 3 large paces, and you can start doing a little slalom to get to know how to lean it and turn it. This is a very slow first run. You don't want to go too fast, so you ease on the accelerator and then you start taking your cones. You learn how to turn left, right, and around you go. Right, left, right, left. If you do that a few times, you'll start learning how to turn fairly well. And then another exercise we advise you to try is just circling a cone slowly. Take it on your left, circle. You go to the next cone, take this one on your right and circle. You'll notice if you look at my handlebar, it's quite turned right now. Quite an angle. You need to turn like that when you're going slowly in order to turn, obviously. But if I were to do that when I'm going at speed, just like if you tried it on a bicycle, you would jackknife and you would fall, potentially injuring yourself, others, So you have to be careful and you have to learn how to ride properly. So to take these cones at speed might be a little tricky, so I'm going to space them out a little further to 5 paces or 15 feet space between each one, and then we're going to try it a little quicker. At a faster pace, and I can accelerate to full speed and can go through these cones. You may not want to go full speed the first time, but you can slowly ease your speed up. So here we go. You'll see I'm leaning more than turning now. And I can go pretty quickly. So you can go fairly quickly through these. But you see how I'm leaning the vehicle. Notice, as you come into the turn, you lean it. You lean it. Just like you would if you were jogging, running, riding a horse, riding a bike. If you don't lean into the turn when you take a turn, you're going to fly out of the turn because of the centrifugal force and you're going to wipe out. So that's what this frame allows you to do. Is you come into the turn, you lean rider and frame into the turn. Not having that ability will not provide the same maneuverability and ease of use. But as anything, you're going to get better over time. Your first day, your first hours, you want to be relaxed, aware of everything that's on the ground around you with engaged arms, because your arms are what put the frame where it's supposed to be. It's already second nature for you to come into a turn and put your body where it should be, as you would on a bike or running or whatever. Now you just have to do it with the vehicle, and you'll find it very, very user-friendly and ergonomic to operate. Back to the beginnings here, how to accelerate from a dead stop is very important. First-timers often will do 2 things. They won't release the brakes, and they'll put on the accelerator, which is a non-starter, literally, or they don't lean forward and they just throw on the accelerator, which burns a lot of rubber and wear out your front tire very quickly. So, 2 things to remember. Lean forward and ease on the accelerator slowly. And the converse is true for braking. For braking, you want to lean back and apply both brakes evenly. Okay, so it's lean forward to accelerate. And lean back for braking. Applying both brakes evenly. And remember, release the accelerator when you brake. Otherwise you get this. It's pretty common sense, but some people forget. I've seen it. So release the accelerator and brake. Then to get off the vehicle properly, very simple. Engage the brakes, step down, push in the parking brake locks, release the brake handles, and now the vehicle will stay as you left it, as long as it's on level ground. And then to begin, of course, you have to release the parking brakes by springing the brakes, by squeezing them, and then you're off and running again. These cones are about 15 feet apart, and I'm going to show you can go full speed and brake within 15 feet. That's another normal skill that a rider should understand how to do easily, and it's just a matter of putting your weight back and applying both brakes evenly. So watch this. So really it took me about 8 feet to stop from full speed. So that's something you can practice before you go out. Of course, if you're going down a hill, it's going to take longer, and you have to practice that as well and get comfortable. proper acceleration from a dead standstill, you can lean forward over the front wheel, and you can additionally step forward on the foot platforms, which puts your weight more forward over the front wheel as well. Both, a combination of both or one or the other, should help to disallow the front wheel from spinning as you accelerate. Move the vehicle without using the power. Say the battery's dead or something's gone wrong, or you're just in an area where you don't feel comfortable riding it. You can simply stand off the vehicle and just push it. You walk it like this. You walk between the rear wheels, and it's as easy as taking a stroll. This thing is lightweight and easy to push, and you could literally walk for miles like this if you had to. Very controllable. And then let's say we want to transport it somewhere. You want to fold it up. That's easily accomplished. There are two folding knobs down here. You release them by pulling them towards you and putting them into the locked, unlocked position. And now it's ready to be transported. I recommend picking it up like this. One hand back here, one hand right here. It's fairly balanced that way. And then to lock it into the folding position, you must release these folding knobs. And now it's a locked unit. And you know, again, a great way to transport it or store it. Now to unfold it, you must pick up the front tire, push down on these folding knobs, put them into the little notch that keeps it from re-locking. Settle this down on the front wheel, pick it up, and kick the pins back into place, and it's ready to go. You may want to change the battery at some point. So you've run out of charge, you want to put in a fresh battery. Simply turn this key counterclockwise, 2 clicks, remove it, get your fresh battery. Here's the channel that goes down the guide rail there. Slides right into place, put in the key, turn it on, you're ready to go. Sometimes you'll find it doesn't click right into place, and so you have to push down on the battery in order to lock it into position. And that's because this is supposed to be in a tight situation. If you're going to use this in one location, you'll find there's a place you park it when it's not in use. And so you just allocate a little space. It doesn't take up much space, where you're going to put it away every night or afternoon or what have you. We normally park it next to an outlet where the charger is already plugged in. The charger's plugged into the wall socket, and you take the other side of the charger, other cable, you plug it right in here, and within 3 to 5 hours you'll have a full charge. This vehicle can be taken down curbs very easily, and taken back up curbs by just lifting it and walking up the curb. One thing you cannot do is pull back, because that can end up dumping you off the back of the vehicle, and you could injure yourself, you could injure the vehicle. So going off a curb, you just keep your weight directly over the vehicle and go down the curb. You don't lean forward, you don't lean back, but certainly not back, because the last thing you want to do is pop it up. One thing you don't want to do, however, as you're coming off a curb, you don't want to have the wheel and accelerator on and then come off the curb and bang, bump it on the ground. That has a very jarring effect on the gears inside the front hub motor, and it can damage the gears. So as you come off a curb, or anytime you feel the front wheel is going to lift off the ground, just release the accelerator so there's no pressure on the wheel. If you're accelerating up a hill, you may have to lean even further forward and baby the throttle even more. And if you're coming up to a fairly steep hill and you're starting to bog and not go as fast as, and you can hear the motor straining, just like you would on a bicycle, you start to weave up the hill like this. This will be important to note in parking structures, you know, where you have ramps, you know, where going straight up you might really be chugging along and bogging, but all you have to do is start weaving and the motor will release and you can go fluidly up the hill. On an area that's not flat, let's say these lines are the vertical axis of the hill. You want to make sure you are aligned with the straight up and down axis of the hill. Because if you're on a side, if you try to park it on a diagonal, gravity is going to pull it over. It's going to fall like this. So as long as the gravitational pull is directly down, it's not going to fall over. It'll stay parked. Whether it's pointing up the hill or down, it can stay parked like that. The vehicle in a public area where there's traffic and the potential for the vehicle being stolen, what you want to do is remove the key, which disables the electronics so no one can jump on it and ride away. And we typically have a cable lock here. You just cable lock it to a post of some sort, which isn't going to guarantee that someone might not come along with a cable cutter, but at least it's a deterrent. So that's the but the best scenario is you keep the vehicle within your eyesight, you keep it in control, but anytime you leave the vehicle, just take the key with you. And then you should always store the second key, the spare key, in some place where you know where it is, some place special, where you keep your other spare keys, and you know where to go in case you lose this key. It comes with two keys. Keep one with the vehicle and another in a special place. Proper riding, comfort, posture, just in a relaxed, ready position, kind of an athletic stance. If you're a tall person, you're going to want to adjust the handlebar release right here, and then you push the button and you bring it up to the level you want it, and then you close the quick release back in so it's nice and tight. And now it's quite a bit taller. So this would be too tall for me, so I'd want to adjust it down, but a taller rider might want it like this. The mirrors as well, you know, before you operate the vehicle, you can adjust the mirrors so you have you can see behind you a little bit. Proper riding involves keeping both hands on the handlebars at all times. This will allow you to put both brakes on when you stop, to stop you, and it will also give you full control of the vehicle. We do not advise that you use one-handed riding. You know, while you're stopped and standing on the vehicle, not moving, we feel comfortable, you know, squeezing one brake and having one hand, you know, to gesture or point to pedestrians and telling them what's going on, or using your radio. You know, generally speaking, when you're riding, both hands on the handlebars at all times. Very important when you're riding any vehicle, any wheeled vehicle, is surveying your pavement. Now, this is a pavement-based vehicle. You want to make sure there aren't any big cracks, any debris, any rocks, any trash, you know, anything. Because if you're riding along and you hit one of those, a pothole, it could really wreck you, and you could hurt yourself, hurt the vehicle. So it's meant for smooth pavement riding, and if you just keep your eyes open at all times, that's essential for safe riding, safe operation. To recap, safe operation of this vehicle will include, first of all, safety gear. Don't ever forget your safety gear. I even have a safety vest on, especially if you're going to be riding at night. You have to have on a safety vest. High visibility look is essential for other drivers coming out of parking spaces and whatnot. Being extremely aware of your surroundings, including other drivers in their cars, debris, potholes, etc. Always riding with two hands on the handlebar at all times. Practicing slow maneuvering with a very light Very light touch on the accelerator. Practicing slow acceleration where you lean forward or step forward so you don't burn out on the front wheel. And braking where you shift your weight back in order to brake. Making sure you don't turn too sharply when you're going, you know, at faster speeds, or any time. Don't turn too sharply because that can cause you to jackknife and hurt yourself. And if you're going off of a curb, of course we don't advise you to go off big curbs. We're talking your average, you know, fairly mellow curb. Do not lean back. In fact, never really lean back unless you're braking. You know, keep your arms engaged. You are controlling this frame. You are a part of the frame essentially. So you need to keep your arms engaged and keep your wits about you and respect every pedestrian and other person on a vehicle or out of a vehicle. This vehicle will give you the ability to move at pedestrian speed very comfortably with others. And, you know, practice makes perfect.